Today we're going to be talking about the Inquisitor, which is a new class you can find linked down in the description. It's made by my friend Matt, and he's got some really cool stuff. I think he's got it published on the DMs Guild, but it's well worth checking it out. I just thought I'd take some time and go through the PDF and figure out what you get for the class. Now, this class is a bit of a hybrid, caster and melee combat. You get to use spells and you get cantrips as well, but it's limited to a small amount of spell slots. Hi, this is Future Rich, just editing the video here, and I noticed that I mentioned melee a lot. It's worth noting that the Inquisitor is not just melee, but you can use both melee and range attacks for your judgments. And it's not really focused as a melee combatant, but it's very capable at dealing out a lot of melee damage as well as range damage. It's very similar to the Artificer in that regard. It has the same layout when it comes to spells and when you get them. So I think level 5 is the maximum amount of spells you're going to get, but you do get lots of combat-based abilities, hand-to-hand melee combat. You also get to use your bonus action to cast a Judgment, which is going to give you a little bonus depending on which Judgment you pick. The amount of Judgments you gain access to expands as you level up, so there's a cool little dynamic there. But these things are like adding extra armor class or re-rolling attacks, and they'll really help you in combat and out of combat as well. With the core of this class, you're going to be getting into melee combat, you're going to be issuing commands, and the spells are using your wisdom, so it's not intelligence, it's not charisma. I think we already have enough charisma-based classes. Now, you can only use this once until you hit level 6, where you can use it twice, but they last for 10 minutes, they're a bonus action, and it's not concentration, so that's worth noting as well. I think this is a great way to show the flexibility of this class. You can adapt depending on the situation you're about to go into. And this is very similar to the Bard in the fact that not being an expert, extremely good at one aspect, but being okay at a lot of different things really helps with your adaptability. The Bard is questionably one of the strongest classes in the game, so this shows you how important it is to be adaptable. Now, this PDF, it does come with the class, it comes with 5 subclasses, it comes with a spell list and some new spells for this class specifically, and it comes with some NPCs as well. If you want to add them into your game as a DM, then it has a great flavour and theme, and you can even use this Inquisitor as an antagonist, an enemy that your party can fight against. So it's a great package to pick up. You get about 20 pages of content, and I'd highly recommend it, regardless of whether I know who made it or not. I'm not getting paid by him, it's not sponsored, it's just thought I'd check out some of his work. I'm not going to go into too much detail about the specific mechanics you get. If you want to find out, you'll have to check out the PDF itself, but I think that it works as a great melee combat focused character. You get an extra attack at level 5, you gain bonuses to your initiative, and with the Judgments and Writs you can really pull off some fantastic cinematic combat. To coincide with the Inquisitor's theme, you get expertise at level 2 and you can detect an alignment. Your lie detector will be going off in your head, you'll be able to interrogate people, and I don't know if you could play a lawful good version of this, but it would be an interesting challenge. This is definitely more of a lawful neutral sort of character, I think. Of course, you're free to choose the alignment as you see fit, but that's what I would go with personally. At level 3, you get to decide your writ. There is lots of different options here, and each one represents a subclass. There's lots of dynamic ways you can take this. You can go healing in one direction, you can go one-to-one combat with another direction, and I thought I'd go through one by one and give you a brief summary of what these subclasses are all about, because that's what the channel is all about, subclasses. At level 9 you get Shared Judgment, which allows you to share your bonuses with other people. So this is really good at elevating the whole party and works similar to the old style of bardic inspiration we've seen in previous editions. If an ally is within 30 feet of the Inquisitor, you get to share your bonuses with them. And at level 14 you get Multijudgment. You can issue 2 judgments at the same time. These are all incorporated into a single bonus action, so as long as they're within 30 feet of you, you're essentially buffing your party twice. With each subclass you get an expanded spell list, and you get abilities at level 3, level 7, level 11, level 15. Also, you get a subclass ability at level 20, which is quite similar to the Paladin's level 20 capstone, and it's like a big chunky Nova ability. It lets you unleash a lot of damage or have a great effect on the battlefield. So it's not just one or two abilities, this will have a great impact on your class. For example, the first one is the Writ of Execution. You gain things like Searing Smite and Hunter's Mark. You can gain haste as well, which would work very well with this class. With the Writ of Execution, at level 3 you get Smiting Judgment. You can treat all of your attacks as magical attacks for the purpose of overcoming resistance to non-magical attacks and damage. Also at level 3 you get Know Thy Enemy. Whenever you make an intelligence check to identify a creature's type or determine its strengths and weaknesses, you gain a bonus check equal to your charisma modifier. At level 7 you get Judgment of Bane. Hi, Future Rich again. Quick edit here, Know Thy Enemy is a wisdom modifier, not charisma, and the wisdom modifier is used for all of the subclasses and all of the class. Thanks, hope you enjoy the video, speak to you soon. Which adds an additional judgment to the list. This essentially gives you a Hunter's Mark style ability where you can choose a creature type and deal additional damage to that creature. And a lot of these abilities are tied to your judgments, so it buffs up your judgment and makes it more powerful. You can have area of effect abilities, for example, or focus solely on one creature. At level 11 you get to United Front. You have advantage on attack rolls and ability checks made against a creature within 5 feet of the ally benefiting from your Shed's Judgment feature. At level 15 you get a boost to your judgment, the extra judgment you got at level 7, the Judgment of Bane. And finally, you get an ability at level 20, which is very rare for a lot of other classes. When you get to level 20 you get True Judgment, the Executioner's Strike. When you pronounce this judgment you can essentially roll to see if you can one-hit this creature. On a failed save the hit points go to 0, but on a successful save the creature takes 7d10 damage. You can only do this to a single creature once every 24 hours. Once they've been judged, they are immune to it until the 24 hours are up. And because this is such a potent ability, you gain exhaustion once you've tried to do this. You can regain your ability to do this once every long rest, or you can use a level 3 or above spell slot. Now, level 3 spell slot doesn't sound like much if you're comparing it to wizards, but because this class has reduced spell slots, you have to be quite a high level to get to level 3 spells. Now let's briefly go over some of the other subclasses. You can choose the Writ of Infiltration, which is a more stealthy focused character. You can choose Writ of Authority, which makes your character more tanky and gives you the ability to negotiate and try and gain allies to your cause. You have the Writ of Purgation, which is an anti-magic kind of subclass. You have extra abilities that can be used to fight against wizards and magic users, and this really is a spiteful and mean sort of subclass if you play it the right way. Next up, the Writ of Heresy is a very fiendish option to choose. Some abilities help you knit your wounds together and regain hit points, and some deal extra damage. And also your judgments get a boost. Every single judgment has a little tweak to it that just makes it that little bit more vicious against enemies. I'll give you a preview of the spell list, and I think there's a nice robust list of options here. You can choose between more melee focused spells like Lightning Lure and Booming Blade, or you can go for something more heal the party, help the party sort of thing. You can choose Guidance, for example. These are all good cantrips. You can choose the Bane, Bless, Heal Wounds. A lot of these spells are sharing some similarities with the Cleric and Paladin, but I do think the Inquisitor has its own distinct style. And if you're going for an all-holy party, having a Cleric for healing wounds, an Inquisitor for buffing up the party, and a Paladin for frontline damage really makes it an interesting dynamic. Now, as interesting as these spells are, there are some spells that are exclusive to this class, and they're on the next page. There's 7 of them in total, and they have a variety of different abilities. I'll give you one for an example. The Litany of Calm is a first level enchantment, and takes 1 action, and it has a range of 60 feet. It's concentration up to 10 minutes. And with this, you can charm a creature. Of course, there are extra rules on how to break the charmed ability and how to keep them enchanted, like how to keep them interested. It's an interesting take. It's not a combat-focused spell, but you can use it in combat or out of combat. You can use this to try and persuade people to your cause. And this is based on wisdom, it's not charisma. So that's what makes it interesting for this class. And finally, we have the NPCs. You gain a list of different creatures with a full stat block, and not just that, but it gives you advice on how to play them as an ally or as an antagonist. At challenge level 5, there's an executioner who can chase people away with a longbow or a massive glaive. There's an infiltrator as well, which gives you a great opportunity to add this as an assassin in a more political campaign and less of a dungeon crawling campaign. There's a stat block for a commander as well, and you can choose any race for this commander, but it does allow you the flexibility of adding an NPC into your game and not being restricted to a race. But the stat block is more reflective of how they're issuing commands and how they're boosting the group. You have a Purger, which is a more magic-based NPC, and they do have a pistol though, so watch out for that. And finally, at challenge rating 14, we have the Heretic, which is this insane creature. You can choose any creature type you want, but it has a massive flail and has some ungodly powers as well. With the Heretic, you can issue a Cursed Judgment or even pull out a Blunderbuss to try and deal damage over the area. So if you're interested in picking up this class, there should be a link down below where to find it. And yeah, you can pick it up on the DM's Guild, or even if you just want to leave a message for Matt, I'm sure he'll appreciate it. But let me know what you guys think of this class. Is it worth picking up? Do you want to try and figure out a way to incorporate this into an existing game, or do you want to try it in a new game as well? Let me know in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. My name's Rich, thank you for watching. Bye!